Coming up on today's wrestling news, WWE confirms major Wrestlemania main event.
Okada will sign for AEW.
Jade Cargill set for WWE Elimination Chamber and SmackDown.
And we've got a health update on Kenny Omega.
I'm Michael Hamflett.
And I'm Phil Chambers.
And this is the news. It is the news, isn't it? Yes. And where else to start, Phil? But with that enormous teaser trailer that WWE dropped just before the Super Bowl last night, capturing all the eyes like they did in Las Vegas with the pre-show press conference on Thursday. And it's confirming what Brian Alvarez was first reporting on Thursday after the big blow between the four, that it looks like it's going to be a tag team match between The Rock and Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes on night one. And then Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns for the WWE title on night two, as confirmed by Triple H being all authoritarian on SmackDown on Friday night. For those that haven't seen the teaser trailer yet, and you've got to go check this out, the four of them appear in this sort of dystopian future, bathed in the Philadelphia
like a Blade Runner kind of.
Very Blade Runner meets basically WWE's own branding of WrestleMania 40, isn't it?
Yeah,
all in
really
on the whole deal.
It's so dumb.
They look like we are just peons in their in this little futuristic world, and these four are the only four men that matter. They gradually all come together. Then there's just lots of big flashing stuff. It says the world on notice, and it flicks between the four of them and the two, Roman and Cody, before flashing up to say WrestleMania night one, night two. So maybe the finer details are to be ironed out, but look, we can all infer what's going on, can't we?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a good trailer. It's no chucking someone out the window of Titan Towers, but it's a good trailer. But yeah, I kind of like the fact that they did put a lot of focus on the Cody Roman stuff within this, because obviously, like what Triple H said on SmackDown, it feels like that's as 100% confirmed as this WrestleMania can be right now.
We can actually settle with that one finally.
Yeah. But the fact that they had The Rock and Seth Rollins in there as well, and the way the two teams kind of walked together at the beginning of the trailer, very, very much feels like a heavy, heavy hint towards that tag match, and probably the heaviest hint we've had yet. But the focus still was on Roman and Cody. Even though The Rock was in there, it still felt like the focus was on Roman and Cody, and I think that's the right choice.
Yeah, as opposed to Thursday's presser where people noted that Seth Rollins was very much shunted to the back.
Yes.
They were trying to tell you there was 4 stars of equal merit in this video, which Rollins more than anybody I think needs at the moment to get this whole thing over the line.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I guess we'll preview Monday Night Raw later on, where we assume Cody and Seth at least will be there as the full-timers, opposed to Roman and Rock that we don't know yet, might not even show up before WrestleMania. But yeah, more on that probably this week.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously there's loads more with the Seth Rollins match to come with the Elimination Chamber, and that actually being announced that he's getting a world title match on there at some point as well. So a bunch of people playing double duty on this.
It does come with a little bit of regret, of course, but with confirmation it would appear that they're going to be working across both nights. Do you know what that means? That none of the 4 are going to be free for, Phil?
What's that?
It's Always Sunny at WhatCulture, live in Philadelphia. We could have been promoting all of them to work the show, Carl, subject to change, but it looks as if they'll be busy across the WrestleMania weekend, as will we, but we'll be the meat in your WrestleMania sandwich. Tickets at whatculture.com/tickets. There's going to be me, Phil, Wilborn, Sidgwick, and more importantly, Simon Miller.
Yep.
All of us are going to be
big
there.
One.
Yeah, the one you actually want to see. We're all going to be there doing our usual nonsense. Miller will be there in person. We'll be reviewing things that happen on night one while speculating on things that are going to happen on night two.
Yep.
All the fun of a WhatCulture live show. Underground Arts Philadelphia goes down at 12 o'clock, giving you plenty of time to get across to WrestleMania.
Loads of time.
Because we'll want to do that too.
Yeah.
So,
the venue does food, the venue has drinks, so you can come have your lunch, have some drinks, pre-drinks before the WrestleMania, and just have a nice time with us talking about wrestling.
Perfect way.
It's going to be good. And I'm kind of working on some special guests, but more on that later. Ooh. Attempting to, anyway. Who knows? It might not happen, but, I wouldn't have that as a promise. But moving over to AEW and Okada. Obviously, there has been a lot of speculation about where Okada is going to end up post-New Japan Pro Wrestling. There's been rumours heading both ways as to whether he's going to be going to AEW or WWE, but we've got a new report from Fightful Select that seems to pretty much confirm that Okada will be going to AEW. Now, I'm just going to read out the quote from Fightful Select here. They just say that they were told that the deal was effectively agreed to in the last couple of weeks, but we haven't confirmed that pen has been put to paper, as we're told it's being finalized. AEW has been confident that they will land him for the last several weeks, even as far back as mid-January. So it feels like very much on the cards. They're just waiting for the final deal to be set. Now, there's no word on when Okada might debut, but it does say in this article that AEW are saying that March would be a big month for the company. Obviously, they've got the AEW Revolution, which is in the first week of March, and the big Sting retirement match. That's going to be a huge show for them. So there's the potential of something happening there. You've got the big Boston show with Sasha Banks. I assume it won't happen on that because that would just sort of diminish from the Sasha Banks, or the Mercedes Moné, I should say, part of it. But whether they just kind of want to keep the momentum rolling from Revolution into that Dynamite into maybe something towards the end of March, we'll have to wait and see. They did say that nothing would happen until Okada has finished up all of his New Japan commitments, and his last match is going to be in a massive sort of multi-man tag match thing in New Beginning in Sapporo on February 24th. So after that, it's good to go really with Okada, it seems.
Yeah, the big business one is interesting to me because obviously we saw it's Sasha Banks, it's Mercedes Moné, it's in Boston, we've seen the B-O-double-S.
Money.
However, is the dollar sign a tell that maybe Tony Khan's going to do another one of his double debuts? Of course, the most famous one is Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson at All Out 2021, but there has been precedent for this before where because you know one surprise is coming, the other one adds that extra bit of a moment to a big night, and it's going to be a big Dynamite for AEW, surely the biggest of the year in reality. Like, they're going to sell out TD Garden, it looks like, or they're certainly going to do an attendance way bigger than the Dynamites they're doing at present. And other than Revolution, if you don't want to promote Okada, and in fact you want to lean on all this speculation, maybe you just go for the double, and maybe big business is about those two. You know, you maybe open with one, close with the other, something like that. But yeah, I think for a short period where the idea of Okada in WWE became almost like more interesting than the signing talk itself.
Yeah.
That speculation was rampant, but yes. AEW always felt like the more realistic landing point from all the prior Forbidden Door relationships between New Japan. Okada's been on television in AEW before, it's not.
Yeah, he's got relationships with people there.
Yeah, this is it.
So it makes a lot of sense. It's like, for me, I think I'd rather have Okada as a separate thing to the Mercedes Moné thing. I think you need to make that Mercedes Moné thing feel as big as you possibly can. And if you want to roll the momentum through, just do big business, and then like a couple of weeks, like 2 or 3 weeks later, just do another one of these hinty things where you kind of say it without saying it, because it obviously seems to be working. I mean, it obviously worked for the Punk thing, but that was like completely different. But it's working for this TD Garden show. Why not do another one where like AEW Dynamite Rainy Days or something? I don't know.
No, I like that. What would your Kazuchika Okada Dynamite brand be called? I don't think it'd be as good as Rainy Days. But let us know in the comments below. It's sort of like semi-viral, isn't it? Because people knowing what's happening is actually part of the fun.
Exactly.
It's a surprise that you're 99% certain of. It's the 1% that drives everything else, which was the case with Jade Cargill when she debuted at the Royal Rumble in January, and it looks like Elimination Chamber is coming next, alongside a graphic that WWE had blurred out but inadvertently spoiled through their own socials that she was going to be in the Chamber match itself. PW Insider came through with a report that they expect her to work Elimination Chamber in the Chamber itself in a number one contenders match for Rhea Ripley's world title at WrestleMania. Well, speaking to Denise Salcedo for Instinct Culture, Cargill has also expressed where else might be on the horizon after Elimination Chamber. She said, "I love Raw, it's a long night, but I love me some SmackDown. I don't know yet, I don't know. I want to see who can give me the biggest bid and who can provide me some great matches." And then on WrestleMania, she added, "You're going to have to see that. You're just going to have to see. If I want it, I got it. I'm going to go out there and get it. Let's just say that." So she's certainly talking her way into something big at WrestleMania. Whether or not that's winning the Chamber or not remains to be seen. Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair, the only current confirmed qualifiers, but there'll be more qualifiers on SmackDown this Friday, leaving one space free that indeed could be Jade's. A win seems unlikely but not impossible. WWE have been building Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley for WrestleMania without obviously having the opportunity to confirm it yet. Notably, Bianca Belair was calling her WrestleMania shot also without a WrestleMania opponent, perhaps within the Chamber match itself in Perth at the end of February. They can possibly put a match within that match to build something bigger at WrestleMania. What do you think for Jade Cargill and WrestleMania ahead of this presumed SmackDown move?
Yeah, it definitely feels like Becky versus Rhea is the way to go, especially with the way this kind of Becky character has been kind of tilting at the minute, and like not quite good enough, and like getting back to the top, kind of that kind of story arc. It feels like the sort of Jade Cargill aspect would kind of get in the way of it, and I don't know if you need like a Cargill in a like putting Cargill in a huge spot of a big, well-built like women's match that doesn't need a title. Yeah, it kind of almost makes it more of a big deal, just because that doesn't happen that often.
Yeah,
and
it's
within
a stage into itself, isn't it?
And within the Elimination Chamber, you've got plenty of potential for losing without losing.
Yeah.
So you don't have to win that match to keep the momentum going forwards. There's a lot of shenanigans that you can pull in that match.
You could do the 5 pylon, couldn't you, just to keep her down.
There's a hell of a lot. And like the moment with Bianca Belair in the Royal Rumble very much felt like that's kind of a thing where they were heading. And as a sort of debut singles match, which it will be when it comes to WrestleMania, her versus Bianca Belair and toppling Miss WrestleMania would be quite a big moment for a big singles match and sort of the beginnings of a big push for Jade Cargill. So we'll have to wait and see, I guess. There is the weird thing of the men's Elimination Chamber feels very, again, like they do this pretty much every year. Very focused, like we're announcing this tournament, these are all the people in it, we're doing this. A huge moment with Triple H on SmackDown and Nick Aldis and what's-his-face, Adam Pearce, coming out to announce it. And then later on in the show, it's just, and there's a women's match as well. And but other people are just going to be in it, but are not actually the matches to be in it. And it's like, what are you doing, guys? Like, just a little bit of parity to do this.
Feels a long way away, doesn't it?
It does a little bit, but we'll have to watch.
But Jade and the likes will help.
Indeed, and it is quite exciting to see what they do with it. But back to AEW for a second, and the last story today. Kenny Omega, obviously he's been out for quite a while with diverticulitis, and we've got a health update from Tony Khan, who was speaking to the Sports Grid, and I've just got a quote from it, and I'll just read that out. He says, he's doing better, but he was seriously sick, and his life could have been threatened had he not gotten the doctors when he had. He was really sick, and he's thankfully doing much better. And we're all wishing Kenny the best and hoping and looking forward to seeing Kenny Omega back in AEW as soon as he is healthy. And obviously, it's been quite a serious situation with this and Kenny Omega. Meltzer was reporting last month that it was so bad that he couldn't actually risk the surgery at that time, and they were going to wait until March to see whether the surgery is the right option for him or not, or whether he sort of treat it in other ways going forward. But quite a promising little update from Tony Khan there, that things are like maybe crossed the worst of it and the things are starting to get a little bit better. But as with all of these things, just get well soon, Kenny, but make sure you are properly well before you come back. Like, there's no rush. Make sure everything's set before we come back.
That's the message, isn't it, with wrestlers in situations like this? Get well soon, and we really mean soon.
Yeah, because we wish you. We want.
But the well bit is more important.
Well, it's very important.
Everybody would like Kenny Omega back on TV, but everybody would like a fully fit and healthy Kenny Omega to make a return.
Yes.
Not do that wrestler thing of feeling the pressure to make it back sooner than is necessary. Like, time will wait for you, and so will we. But diverticulitis, especially, every time you hear of it from the prior cases of the likes of Shane McMahon and Brock Lesnar and others outside of our kind of bubble and our sort of space, it just sounds torturous.
Nasty.
So make sure that is all cleared soon. That wrestlers are like freakish athletes with their bodies, regardless of sort of sickness and the rest of it. So get well soon, Kenny Omega, and we do hope to see you back. Nice to hear this.
Yes,
especially
definitely.
Do you want some questions?
Yes.
I sent out a panicked tweet about 10 minutes before we entered the studio, and thankfully got a few replies. So
good.
Yeah, I didn't. Definitely.
The people go off and it all goes to hell around here.
Definitely didn't forget.
I'm working on a Monday. What's this?
Yeah, I'm definitely not a complete amateur. So we'll do a few questions, and we'll stick with AEW just for the time being. Chris Choppin at Mr. Chris Choppin has been on to ask, how should MJF return to AEW?
It's an interesting one now, because it feels like, not that everything's moved on from him, but it feels like the storylines especially with the Swerve and Hangman stuff that's been going on lately, like it kind of, they did a really good job, to be fair, of shuffling out of that kind of direction and making you focus away from the MJF storyline and onto this new big shiny thing.
Yeah.
And it is it's a main event worthy storyline that's going on at the minute with them and Samoa Joe. So it's like, where does he fit in with that when he comes back? I feel like you can't go straight back into the world title scene.
No.
You need something else.
And people didn't love that so much, did they?
You've got the Adam Cole stuff that's going to be there at some point, and depends how long MJF's going to be out for.
Yeah.
And when Adam Cole's going to be fully healed again. But they kind of have to go back to that at some point.
I think
it's how you do that now, especially after how that was kind of received.
The Undisputed Kingdom have badly missed the villain that they were built around. Like, it's great that they've achieved their purpose seemingly on night one, but they've looked a bit lost and irrelevant without actually MJF there to continue to beat up, as odd as that sounds.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he's missed, but wrestling is strange that way. Sometimes the time away is the best thing, especially in the weekly episodic model.
Yeah.
52 weeks of exposure a year is a lot.
I think even more so in AEW with the sort of vast size of that roster. Yeah. And seemingly, according to these reports today, getting bigger anytime soon with more top-level main event stars. It's going to be a really difficult thing. Like, maybe it is time to put in some kind of like not a season, but like where individual wrestlers come and do 12-month, 16-month stints, and then you rotate that around so not everybody is off at the same time.
Good for their bodies.
Like do 12 months on, 6 months off, 12 months on, 6 months off, something like that. Like just give people that little bit of chance to rest, have a nice continuous reliant of like big new like babyface returns and things like that. And just let people miss people for a while and give other people a shot while other big stars are out. Like, there's got to be something you can work out there, like a fake territory system almost.
No, it'd be great. There's enough money to pay these wrestlers as well. It's not a promotion short for you, Rob, is it? Speaking of rest, and recuperation, and other roles, question from Wayne Japanda, at Wayne Japanda. What do you think of CM Punk and Big E on commentary? How would you utilise them moving forward through WrestleMania? This is obviously a reference to the fact that they were both in excellent form on the kickoff panel on that WrestleMania pre-show presser. Punk has been excellent on commentary in the past, and I mean, Big E with a microphone is always magic, isn't it?
Yeah.
What would you think about either of those two?
Genuinely, put both of those on the commentary desk, put Michael Cole in the middle of them, and I'm kind of set forever. God. I think you will never see me like going for a 3-man booth over a 2-man booth ever normally, but in this specific situation, those two either side of a very frustrated Michael Cole would actually be really, really entertaining, and I'd just really love that. And just put them on both nights of Mania. Big E, CM Punk, Michael Cole in the middle, sorted.
It was sort of perfect.
Great commentary team.
It was sort of perfect, wasn't it, at that kickoff thing? Because it was like there was a bit of spice, and then there was something nice.
Yeah,
there was like that right.
It was friendly spice.
Yeah, that was it.
Like the little jabs from Big E. About, I'm just here to keep you out of trouble.
That's it. Yeah, it's nice.
Punk bucking himself into a rock match.
That was classic. Let's shout out friend of the channel, Big E, while we're here. By the
100%.
way, Our Heroes Rock, which you may remember all the way back in 2021.
Yeah, a while ago.
We had Simon Miller on with Big E streaming. They were promoting it.
There are 2 videos on our channel if you want to go check them out. There was a big live stream where Simon Miller and Big E played UFC games.
Yes, yeah.
And just sort of chatted about in the background, which is really entertaining. And Wilbon did an interview with him as well.
And that was for a Kickstarter, which was for Our Heroes Rock. In this case, Bridges, the story of Riri Bridges, a young girl going to school in a time of segregation. All that time has passed, and that video is now live, and you can check out. It's amazing. It's about 15 minutes long. It's a mini movie.
Link in the corner.
Boop, 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 boop. Up there. Thanks, Ted.
I think it's outside.
It is somewhere.
The eye.
I watched it with my kids, who absolutely loved it. You get to learn. You get to see Big E playing the voice of this awesome robot character within it. It's by Big E, Jonathan Davenport, the fabulous New Day's gear designer, Andreas Hale. You can find all them on socials. Big Heroes Rock. Search for it on YouTube, you'll find it straight away. It's absolutely must-see stuff, and there's hopefully more from them coming in the future as well.
Exactly, yeah. And technically, if any of you donated on that stream or even just watched that video, all the revenue from those videos went to that Kickstarter, so you are producers for it.
There you go. And
so even better.
And that's them saying that, not even us. So yeah, so go and check that out. Last question today, Phil.
Yes.
Comes from Matty Edwards at Matty Edwards 86. Kindred spirit of mine, a fellow Fed head working for the Grapple podcast. It's a pretty good podcast, as Wilbur must say. Not as good as ours, but it's a very good podcast. Thank you, Matty, for getting in touch. It's Super Bowl Monday, and as the 2 preeminent experts / the only people in the office, Matty wants to know, who's a bigger worldwide star, Mahomes, I think he means Patrick Mahomes, or Dwayne? In the era, obviously, of The Rock coming back as a mega Hollywood star, and I don't know, the Super Bowl reminding you that wrestling's pretty small in the grand scheme of things. Who do you, Phil, consider the biggest star?
I mean, Mahomes?
Yeah, me too, Mahomes. I don't know. I'm going to go The Rock. I like The Rock again.
Go with The Rock.
I went off The Rock last week when I thought he was ruining the main event.
He's back.
Yeah, I think he's back now.
He's a heel, and it's somehow more fun.
He knows what he's doing.
He does know what he's
slotted
doing.
straight back in. That wrestler brain of him kicked in when he was in that ring, and Cody was fighting back the tears. He knew, didn't he? He knew.
He knew, and he's back, and he's on top, and he's got his WrestleMania match. Not quite what he may have expected, but they'll do that down the line. I actually think this is a much more interesting story to tell as well, if you're pairing him with Roman Reigns. Just that one clip when they were walking backstage after the press conference, and like The Rock was in front of Roman Reigns, and it was like a dad walking with his little kid.
Yeah.
And like that aspect of the bloodline is something that hasn't been explored in any way. Just someone coming in and quite, like almost rightfully, just taking that head of the table spot from Roman Reigns. That's an interesting story to tell.
It already feels like that breakup can drive WrestleMania 41 as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like Rock little brother in Roman, the way that he little brothers everybody is just waiting to be a big 41 main event. Yes. And anyway, like wrestling's our thing. Screw the football. Like
who needs a Super Bowl?
I don't know.
Super Bowl, schmooper Bowl.
So there's no Super Bowl out for like 364 days. That's ages away.
Boring.
WrestleMania's in like 50. The Rock's the biggest
All these
star.
footballers having time off now.
All that being said,
lazy.
Patrick Mahomes is invited to our live show if he wants to attend.
If he wants to, 100%. I'm a big fan of yours.
Yeah, well,
I know you're watching, Patrick.
Always loved your work for the Chiefs. I don't know. And if you want to watch one of our videos as well, Patrick, you can do so here-ish. And we will see you soon.
Bye.